So like I said, our user spotlight for this month is Madeline Vardell from Newman University. She pre-recorded her segment, so we are going to go ahead and play that right now and let her introduce herself to you all.
Hello all, my name is Madeline Vardell. I'm the Student Support Specialist at Newman University in the University Student Success Center. So Newman University is a small Catholic university named for St. John Henry Newman and founded by the adorers of the blood of Christ. The mission of Newman is to empower graduates to transform society, which is a tall order. So I'm speaking to you today from our main campus in Wichita, Kansas. Newman is made up of about 2,500 students, including both graduates and undergraduates. Our programs of study encompass 2-year associate degrees, 4-year undergraduate degrees, and even some graduate programs at the master and doctorate level. The student body we serve in the Student Success Center is primarily undergraduate students in a 4-year program. Although many of these students are transfers and come to Newman with nearly half their coursework completed. So all that's to say, while my department desires to serve all students, doctorate students, as well as undergrads, we do focus on first-time, full-time students and transfer students. So the Student Success Center opened somewhat recently in the spring of 2024. It reestablished services for students like peer tutoring, which had disappeared for a time, and it gave other student services a central location. Services like mental health, academic interventions, and career coaching. Accudemia has been essential for managing the various services the Student Success Center offers and granting students a self-service option. I should mention, because of our very small size, we use Accudemia Lite, and we find that it meets all our needs rather perfectly. We began using Accudemia Lite about a year ago. Accudemia is the scheduling system for all appointments, reservations, and reporting needs in the Student Success Center. And the Student Success Center offers 6 types of appointments and schedules. So we have testing appointments for students who have ADA accommodations, or maybe they're an athlete and they need to make a makeup test. So Accudemia allows us to create a scheduling service for that, and then students can come in and make their own appointments. We have peer tutoring appointments. We have 11 peer tutors. We offer tutoring from accounting to nursing, physics, etc., everything in between. And then we have career coach appointments for like mock interviews, for job search assistance, or even graduate application help. And then our academic interventions, we have 2 types. One for students who are on academic probation, and we also have just general academic support for students who need help, maybe taking a test or with note taking, or they're not really certain what they need help with and they just need to review it with someone. We offer appointments for ADA accommodations, and then also for ESA appointments. So that's for emotional support animals for people who live in the dorms. So they have to fulfill or fill out very specific paperwork for that. We help them here. And then we have mental health services in the Student Success Center for basically counseling referrals, but also we have a mental health project coordinator. She has a schedule in Accudemia for students who'd like to meet with her. Peer tutors and career coaches also allow for drop-in or walk-ins. So this is when someone doesn't want to make an appointment, they see someone's working, and they just come right in and say, hey, are you free? And so otherwise, we don't have, all our appointments are by some schedules, and we don't use the line for walk-ins because we find we don't really have a need for it. Tests, because they require communication with professors for them to send over appointments, we have to have those scheduled, but generally other things can happen on the fly. Besides appointments, Accudemia manages reservations. So if students want to reserve a conference room, they can do it here. If students want to check out a laptop, they could do it here. The conference room is the most popular reservation, I will say. Students really like to reserve it to work in groups. Yeah, we have a room that has whiteboards and it has technology, so it's quite popular. We also have other student clubs, and we have learning assistants. So these are students who work embedded in a specific classroom, and they like to either reserve the conference room or check out laptops for specific activities. So I guess the other things I would like to make note of is Accudemia helps us manage our study hall hours. So most of the athletes and all students on academic probation are required to log so many study hall hours, and we have created a kiosk for students to manage their hours, to sign in, sign out as they need to, and then Accudemia, of course, records this. And I've set up specific user groups in Accudemia and then schedule specific reports that go to coaches, that go to the person in charge of academic probation. And so we can keep track of those students and intervene where needed. Those are basically all of our current services that we offer. So Accudemia is essential for managing them, but also for collecting data. We have a lot of grants that we use. So we have a Title III grant, we have a SAMHSA grant, a few other ones, and the reports are, that's our main reason for looking for another scheduling service when we moved to Accudemia, was so that we could keep track of those things. And then, of course, the Student Success Center, we have to always make a case for our budget, not just about grants, but from like academic affairs, that we can constantly get funding for our student workers. We can get funding for our staff. And then having those reports to see how much students come to our services and are using them is essential. I also want to mention how our various student workers have been easily managed in Accudemia. So I mentioned we have peer tutors, we have peer career coaches. We also just have assistants who manage the front desk, and they help students who don't want to make an appointment self-service. They don't want to do it themselves. So these are different levels. Some of those workers need schedules, and some of those workers just need permissions. And so that Accudemia, you can go in and you can edit the permissions each person has, is sort of essential and really useful. Yeah, I think that's the major, like the bulk of how we're using Accudemia. Maybe the last thing to emphasize is that Accudemia supports the Student Success Center, our goal to remain flexible and adapt to our current student needs. We can easily create new services in Accudemia if we find we have a need for them, and this is exciting and will hopefully keep us growing and keep us from becoming stagnant. Thank you.
All right, and thank you to Madeline, who couldn't be here today, but we thank her for taking the time to do that. We'll just let's do a few more seconds if anybody has any questions. And if anybody has any questions for Madeline, I'm happy to pass those along as well. But I think we'll go ahead. I don't see any further questions, so a nice quick session today. And thank you everyone for joining us, and we hope that everybody has a great rest of your week.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Bye.